trades I took this. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so these are the trades I took this week. So I started this week. This was where I started this week from. So this was when I was looking at my chart on Sunday evening, right? When I was looking at my chart on Sunday evening, this particular one was what I just looked at. I'm like, okay, this is what the market is most likely going to do when the market opens. So I just had this analysis marked out here. Okay, and as at the time the price of the market was here, there was the trend line here was like this. Trend line here was like this big trend line. It was cutting across like this. It was cutting across like this. Of course, market has shifted, so that's why I have the trend line adjusted. But then the trend line was cutting across like this. So why did I really take this? Why did I suspect that this was going to happen? Why did I suspect that this was going to happen? The way I trade gold, the way I trade gold is that I go to my 4-hour, right? I go to my 4-hour, and then I mark out the most recent high. I mark out the most recent high on the market, okay? I mark out the most recent high on the 4-hour. So that particular one, this is it. This is that particular trade. I don't want to take out these things because I use them for my back test. Excuse me. So this was that particular trade. And then the current high in the market then this was the current high in the market as at then. Okay. So what I just do, I'll take my horizontal ray, right? And I will mark out the most recent high in the market. Right. So what I always expect is that once price bounces off that recent high, it starts dropping. Okay, so I mark out recent high, mark out the recent low, and then wait for price to just get there and starts dropping. So immediately market touches it on the 4-hour, that's where I get in for my end. So I'll actually have the patience to wait for the price to go and touch that area. Okay, so I just expected it and then it dropped. Then that was what happened for that particular one. Sorry. That was what happened for that particular one. So I didn't actually take this trade because it was market open the night. Of course, I was sleeping, but when I woke up, I already saw that, okay, this one had already played out. Okay, so this one, which is part of the lessons I've learned, and which is one thing I'm actually going to be sharing with you guys. So the market was actually in a very, very bearish trend. And I was like, oh, okay, since the market is bearish, let me catch the buy, because I knew that, okay, since that dropped up to this point, okay, let me catch the buy to drop again, because it was already going up. I was like, okay, let me just catch this buy and join it to go up, which was a mistake, which is something I've learned not to do again in trading, which is like something I'm really not going to do again, because I tried it twice and okay, not tried. I tried it here. This was the trade I took last week Friday. I tried it here. Luckily for me, I ended in break even. I wanted to join the buy, which is also what I tried to do here, join the buy, and the market was really in a very, very bearish trend. And trying to join this buy, okay, the market hadn't taken out the previous low. This is one thing I've noticed with gold. Gold kind of moves in structures. Gold respects structures a lot. The market hadn't taken out this previous low. Okay, so it needed to take out this previous low. If I thought it was going to probably buy very well, it has to take out this previous low, then buy, okay, to create a structure before now dropping again. But it didn't take out this low, okay? So I was like, okay, let me just take this buy. But it didn't work. Luckily, I ended this one in break even. So I tried it here again, right? It hadn't taken out this low. Look at the previous low. It hadn't taken it out. So the only time it will probably buy is if it takes out this low, okay, then it now have a retracement. That's one thing I noticed that gold does. So we'll see it in other instances too, right? So I tried to buy out, I tried to catch the retracement buy, but it didn't work. So I now noticed that this same mistake was what I made here. So this is where learning from your mistakes come into play, right? I learned that, oh, okay, if it hasn't taken out the previous low, which means the retracement might not really, even if it buys, the buy is not going to like be that kind of buy you want to catch. Do you get? So I kind of made that mistake. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do this again. So I just totally left out the buys. Okay, so this one, I got into this trade and I took in a loss. This was on Tuesday. I took a loss on this one. Then, and now this was now, it now broke the low. It broke out the previous low, then came to retest. I didn't take this sell because I think once I trade in a day, if I take one loss in a day, I don't trade again. I only take one entry per day. 1%, I reach 1% of my account per day, and win or loss, I'm done for the day. That's the way I trade. Okay. So this one was now on, I think this was on Wednesday. Okay, this was on Monday too. Yes, I didn't take this one. Then I said, let me take this one on Monday, right? Which is another mistake I made. Okay, no, yeah, I didn't take any trade. So this was the first trade I took on Monday. I didn't make any profit. So this one was on Tuesday. I sent this one to the Telegram group. What happened on this one? This one, the same thing. I'll go to my 4 hour for this particular trade, mark out the previous high on the market, which, so where's that particular trade on my 4 hour? I don't know if you guys are following me. Where's that particular trade on my 4 hour? Okay, this is it on my 4 hour, right? So this was the previous high in the market. So I marked out the previous high on the body of the candle. This was the previous high. So I marked out the previous high. Okay, so I was expecting that part of the market is going to bounce on that previous high and start dropping from there. Sorry, this is just how I trade gold. I was expecting that part of market to bounce on that previous high. Once it bounces on the previous high, it starts dropping. And of course, the previous high is not the only confluence I have there. I have my psychological level there too. I also have a trend line there, which is 3 confluences for my sell. Okay, so once it tapped on that previous high, I knew that it was a sell, so I took the sell from there. Okay, that was it for that particular one. I'm just trying to give you guys a breakdown of the trades themselves. Then I'll now explain the risk management I used to take the trade. So that's just basically what I want to do here. So this is the trade. So I caught that sell. I caught that sell all the way down to this point. The same thing. Of course, if the market is selling, it's going to like break through the previous low. So it broke to the previous low. I know that, okay, once that's broken through the previous low, then it was time for a retest. Remember, before I used to be tempted to take the buys. Okay, I used to be tempted to take the buys for the, but I just didn't bother again. But I knew that since they're taking out the previous low, okay, and created a new low, which means a buy was going to happen. So I saw the buy went, I didn't take it, I didn't bother. I now waited for the sell. What happened again? I went to my 4 hour again. Once I saw the retracement coming, I'll go to my 4 hour, mark out the previous high, the most recent high in the market. I'll mark out the most recent high, look at it. So this was the other one. Are you guys following me? Are you guys following what I'm explaining? Like, this is quite simple. What I'm explaining
Yeah.
Yes.
We are following you.
Look at the previous high for the other one I took, right? Look at the previous high. Then when the market was retracing, it created another high. So I'll just mark out the new high. And I know that once market touches that area again, it's going to start dropping again. And again, I have my trend line cutting through there. So I'll just wait there. Once market tap, because market is in a bearish trend and it's creating structures, lower lows, lower high, lower. So once it taps there too, I know that it's the time for myself. So I'll go to my 15 minutes and wait for my entry. This is it here. Once it tapped there, I knew that it was time and I started selling. And once it takes out the previous low, one thing good is that it's going to respect structures very well, right? So once it tapped there, I knew that once it has tapped on the previous side, I know that the next thing that is going to happen is that it's going to break the previous low since it's a downtrend. So I just took the trade up to, once I just target my 1-2 reward, I'm always okay like that. That's just the way I trade. I don't really like pressure trading, all those things. Once it's up to 1-2 reward, I'm really good. So I knew that once it had tapped the previous, it's going to just break the previous low since it's a downtrend. I just took my profits here and then the sell. And once it breaks the previous low, the next thing I know that is going to happen is that a buy is going to happen. But of course, I will not take the buy because it just distracts me from the main trend of the market. Since it's a downtrend, the buy is going to happen, but it's going to be more stressful than the sell. Okay, it's going to catching the opposite trend of the market. It is quite stressful, so I don't even. But so even when I saw this pattern, this is an inverse head and shoulder. This is an inverse head and shoulder, so I definitely knew that the market was just going to buy. Even at this point here, I was looking at it here. This is the break and retest of the neckline. I was looking at it, I knew that, oh, this buy is going to buy up to the next trend line. So what I will just do again, I'll just go to my 4 hour again. I'll go to my 4 hour again. I'll mark out the high again. This is it. I'll just mark out. That, of course, know that the way I determine the next high is from the previous low. The way I determine my next high is from the previous low. What do I mean? This is the previous low in the market. So I know that from the previous low in the market, once the market is coming back, it's coming back to retest the previous low. So the previous low is going to be the next high for the market, right? Look at this one again. This is the previous low in the market. From this previous low, I know that this is where the next high is most likely going to be. So what will I do? I'll just mark out my line here. Go to my 15 minutes and wait for my entry. This is the trade here. This is it. I'll go to 15 minutes, wait for my entry. So this is where I took my entry. Look, this is it. This is my exact entry point. You can see it. So this to show you guys that, of course, these things were here before. So it's for you guys to know that this is exactly how I did it. So it's not like I moved anything. So you see that when I put this, you see that it comes out as my exact entry point. So you guys know that exactly how I do it. So I got the entry here and it's also once I knew that okay, it's that once it starts turning from here, I just know it's going to take out the previous low. So whenever this also how you can set your take profit. So depending on the trend of the market, if it's a downtrend, just know that definitely it's going to take out the previous low. So just put your profit. So if you just want to be on the safe side, okay, you can just put your TP on the previous low. Most likely for gold, most times it's always going to get their previous low and it's going to break it. But to just be on the safe side, can just put it on the previous low, which is 5. Look, I want 5 weeks to rewards like crazy. But I always just like to keep it really, really simple. This one was 1 to 3 weeks to reward. That's what I did for this one and cut this sell. So the last one that we took on Friday, the same thing. I'll go to 4 hour, look at the previous low. The previous low is what determines where the next high is going to be for me, right? This was the previous low in the market before this is where the retracement happened. So this is the previous low in the market. I'll go to the previous low. From there, I'll mark out the previous low. Exactly. This is it. This is it. In fact, the line is already there. Look at the line is already there. I have it there. That was the markup I did on Friday. I'll mark it. And then once I'll just go to 15 minutes, wait for the entry to get there, and I'll take the entry. That's simply just how I trade gold. It's really simple like that. Gold respect structures very, very well, like crazy. Gold respect structures. So all the signals I sent to you guys, that's just how I did it. And this was the trade we took on Friday. So one thing I noticed is that I was following the trend. That's why it was really easy for me to like catch these moves easy. So if you're looking at trading gold, one thing I would advise you is to just always follow the trend. If you follow the trend, most times market is going to play out in your direction. That's the first thing about that one. Then the second thing is the risk management. How did I actually take this trade? So my account was actually in a drawdown of negative 2%. Okay. But what I now did is, since my account was in a drawdown, normally I risk 1% per trade, and that account was actually a 10K account. Okay, that account was actually a 10K account. So what I just do is that I risk 1%. So 1% of my account, then it's 0. If I'm using 20 pips stop loss, you guys should pay attention to this thing I want to explain now. If I'm using 20 pips stop loss, okay, which means the lot size I'm going to use to trade this account is going to be 0.5. 0.5. That's how I actually determine it, okay? And if this trade goes against me, I'm going to lose $100. How did I come about this? What I do 20 pips, 20 multiplied by 0.5, okay, multiplied by 10. 10 is a constant for me, okay? So it gave me $100. So because I know that what I want to risk is 1% of that account, which is $100. Of course, it was not negative. So the account was already negative. So $100 is more than 1% actually, but I just like to look at it like, okay, let me just still maintain the 1%, right? So I just know that what I want to risk is $100 per trade. I don't want to risk more than $100 per trade. So if I'm using 20 pips, okay, I do 20 pips multiplied by 0.5 times 10. 10 is a constant. It's going to give me $100. If my stop loss is more than 20 pips, if my stop loss is something like 25 pips, I know that if I use 0.5, it's going to be more than $100. So I'll reduce my lot size to like 0.4. So if I multiply 25 times 0.4 times 10, 25 times 0.4 times 10, let me check. 25 times 0.4 times 10, that's 100. You see, so if I'm using 25 pips, I'm going to use 0.5. So the more I increase my stop loss pips, the more I reduce my lot size, so that at the end of the day, I'll still arrive at $100 risk or less than $100 risk. So if if the trade I'm going to take is going to be 30 pips stop loss, which means I'm going to drop my lot size to 0.3. Are you guys getting it? So that even if this trade goes against me, of course it's 30 pips, but now I've dropped my lot size. At the end of the day, I'm still going to be losing just $100 if the trade goes against me. Are you guys with me? Are you guys getting me? So this is how I maintain. Are you guys with me? Nobody's talking.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So this is how I try to make sure that I maintain. This is how I try to make sure that I maintain my 1% risk, right? So sometimes I hear a lot of people coming to ask, like, what's your how many pips is your stop loss? Like, that question is quite irrelevant, because you have to first of all determine within yourself how much are you willing to risk. Okay, so how much you're willing to risk is not what to determine the lot size, the stop loss you use. Of course, I can tell you I'm using 30 pips, and you see you gotta use 30 pips, but then your lot size, you're using one standard lot size. If this trade goes against us, we are not going to be losing the same amount of money. Are you with me? We're not going to be losing the same amount of money. So this is just what I was doing. So depending on the structure of the market, okay, depending on the structure of the market, depending on where my stop loss is, that's what we determine. For this one, for instance, this one was 20 pips. At some point I broke even. That's why you're seeing 10 pips here. Okay, so depending on the structure of the market, it will determine the stop loss, the pips I will use for my stop loss, right? Because you want to give the market enough space to breathe. This is gold. This is gold you're trading, right? You want to give the market enough space. So you're not going to make the stop loss so tight that the market will not be able to move. So for you to give the market enough space to move, just reduce. I know some of you, these things are just, they are mental struggles, because you want to use 0.5, you want to use 0.5, but then you're using 30 pips stop loss, but then you want to risk just $100. It's not going to work, because in your mind you've already calculated the profit 0.5 is going to give you, without calculating the loss it's going to be in case it's a loss, right? I always tell people that when you're trading, always think about the loss before the profit. That's how to stay ahead of the market. Always think about, don't get carried away by the profits. Don't get carried away by the profits. Always think about the loss before the profits. Like, if you can always do this, you'll find out that you're going to kind of be ahead of the market in a way, in a certain way, right? Even if you're not really making money yet, you're going to be ahead of the market in a certain way, right? So I always think, how many pips will I risk together with my lot size to make sure that I don't exceed $100? If you saw I think I posted the trade, like, I think on my Instagram, the losses on that trade, all the losses I had, you see that none of them plus none of the losses more than $100, right? Because that's what I decided I'll always risk in my trade. So the losses are just 97, 94, thereabouts, things like that. But then the profits are always like from 100, 200, 150, or less probably the ones that ended in break even, right? Because of my risk to reward. Okay, so that's one thing. Then another thing that I noticed I started doing differently, and this thing, I've also seen someone else complain about it. There's this euphoria that comes with when you start making money, like when you're already really close to passing your prop firm. Okay, it happened to me. Like, this particular account, I actually took it to like 6% at one time, and then before I knew it, it went negative. I lost all the money, and then it went all the way down to negative 2%. Because most times I was just thinking, I think like 2 or 3 times I took it to 6%, and then it went back. Because once it gets to that 6%, I now get carried away by the excitement that, oh, I'm almost passing this account, so let me just double down, right? I believe that it must have happened to some people, like, oh, let me just one more trade. I just need one more trade to pass this account, and then you just be like, oh, let me just double down and pass this account. Before you know it, that one more trade, you want to just double down. You just want to kind of risk more. Okay, maybe instead of now risking 1%, be like, oh, let me just do 2%, just pass this thing once. And before you know, that 2% is now down. But that one will probably be the one you will now lose. And once it drops, there's a shift in your psychology. Number one, not just that your account drops, you risk more. There's a different feeling. Okay, there's a different feeling when you risk what you're supposed to risk and you lose the trade, then when you actually risk more and you lose, that one, like, the pain is sort of different. The pain is sort of different. I don't know if you guys are with me. Are you guys with me?
Yes, yeah, with you.
Someone said good morning, I don't trade you again. Why? I just changed my mind. Gold, I find gold better. Yes, gold is more, I prefer gold. That's why I don't trade you again. Right, so that's the thing about trading. At some point, you just have to find out what works better for you. All right. Okay. So that excitement of almost passing your account, you have to find a way to eliminate it. And one way I found to eliminate it was, this is what I do. I always tell you guys what I do. One way I found to eliminate it was, if I make money today in trading and my account is really up, I will not trade the next day. Of course, these things work opposite. So when you make money in trading, you have confidence. You want to go, oh, I already know this, let me go and trade again. You're now so confident, right? You be like, oh, I've figured this thing out, let me go and trade again. Before you know it, that one will not be the one that will show you, you've not figured this thing out too. So the way I keep myself in a balance, right, when I was struggling with that stuff, was, if I make profits today, okay, I will not trade the next day, because it kind of delays. I don't know, it's all these things are just in your mind. Like, that's why trading is a mental game. It's just kind of, will I call it delayed gratification? I don't even know what to call it, but it's just to kind of not make me feel that excitement of passing. Let me not deny myself that excitement. When I feel like, oh, if I take this next trade tomorrow, now I'll pass my account. So that happiness I'm supposed to get from passing down my account tomorrow, let me deny myself of that happiness. All things are little things, but you don't know. Please, can you mute your mic? I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, so all these little excitements, like, you might not really know, but these things affect you. These are little things I find that people don't really pay attention to, but in the long run, you see that they kind of affect your trading. Are you guys with me? So these are little things that you might not just pay attention to, but then it has a way of affecting. So if I do that, if I don't take the trade next day, I know that, oh, this account, I know now pass it today. Okay, let me just wait for next tomorrow. I can still pass it next tomorrow. These are just little talks I just tell myself, and they've been working for me. So you can also just try them, and it might still work for you. But I'm not an expert, but I'm just sharing things that work for me, so you guys can also try them. Okay, so that's one thing about people that maybe when the account goes up to 6%, before you know what's happening, you've dropped to negative something again. It's nothing but overexcitement. It's overexcitement that just caused that problem for you, because you're carried away in advance with the excitement of passing your account. Okay, so before you know it, you're already drawing back. Okay, then I also saw someone that said it was up 6% and then it's negative 4% on the futures. That one is just definitely, that one is even more like a risk management problem. That one is different from this one. This other one I'm talking about is that maybe you just lose like 2% or there was you might just lose, no, even like you might just go you're up 6%, maybe now you're now up just 4%. But this one is an extreme case. Like, it's not just that you dropped from 6%, you drop from 6% profit, you went negative 4%. That's your negative. If the 10K account, negative $400. That's really bad. It's a risk management problem. You must have done something really, really bad with your risk management. You said you were stacking trades, hoping it will go in your favor. I've always said this to you guys. You don't add to losing positions. Like, that's one thing people don't understand. If you want to stack, understand how stacking works. Before you start a trade, the top trades must be in profit. Let me say, for instance, you took a trade from this point, using this particular one, for instance, you took this trade here. Okay, before you add position, the first position you took here must already be in profit. It must already be in profit. Okay, then you break even before you start adding positions. And when you're adding positions, the positions you should add at the down should be lesser than the ones at the top. That's one thing people don't understand about stacking. If you must stack, right? Stacking is professional.
That's
Stack,
not
right?
That's not no.
Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Thank you. If you must stack, okay, make sure that your top positions are already in profits and you've broken even before you start adding positions to the downside. And if you're adding positions to the downside, make sure that the positions you're adding on the downside, they are lesser than the positions you have at the top. For instance, if you have one standard lot at the top side, you don't come down and add two standard or one. No, if you come down, you add 0.5, 0.3. So that even if these ones go in loss, the profits, because these ones are bigger, is going to cover up for the losses that are going to come with these ones. Are you guys getting it? So you don't make those kind of mistakes, especially on a problem account. Like, why would you even be doing that kind of thing on a problem account? You guys get it? So that's another thing. That's another thing I want to talk about. Then I think the last thing I want to talk about is FOMO. Okay, patience and yeah, that's another thing too. So using this particular trade, for instance, this particular trade actually wanted to mess with my mind yesterday, but I said no. You cannot mess with my mind. Like, I'm the one. These things you have to discipline yourself to this thing. You have to discipline yourself to this thing. This particular trade, for instance, I called out this trade since morning. So this trade actually played out around what time was this? What time was this? I think around the first sell happened around 11, a bit 12. Then the second one happened around 1. So it was even around 1 that I took this trade. So when this first sell happened, this is the first entry area for this trade. This is the first. This stuff is blocking. Okay. Yeah, this area was the first area this trade started selling from. Okay. But I already had my sell limit order here. When he got here for the first time, he didn't really touch this sell limit order. Somebody was saying on the group chat, this trade is already leaving us. Like, this trade is already leaving us. I think if you were on the group chat, you'd have seen someone drop that comment. He was like, this trade is already leaving us. That I think some people even got in, but I didn't get in. So when this first drop happened, and it came here, this particular, this meeting, I will soon be done though. So when this particular low happened, I thought it was lower than this one. So this particular second low, let me remove this stuff so you guys can see what I'm explaining. This particular low, right? When I saw that it was lower than this one, so in my mind, I was already like, oh, this market is already selling, because this is just, I look at market structures very well. So when I saw that this low was lower than this one, I already said that, oh, this market is already selling. Like, since this one is lower, it's already selling, okay? And this candle too also came out to do like something like a retest. I was like, oh, it's gone. At this point, I was contemplating, should I get in, should I not get in, should I get in, should I not get in? Like, I was battling within myself. I was like, no, I've already set my sell limit, so let me just leave it. If he picks it, fine. If he doesn't pick it, fine. Because if I pick this trade from here and still maintain the same stop loss I have, it's just going to mess up my trade. Like, it's just really going to mess everything up. And if it ends in loss, I'll be really, really angry. So I left. So when this drop happened and he took out this low, that was when I was like, oh, this market has already gone, so let me just leave it. But I still left my limit order. I don't know, for some reasons, I just still left my limit order. So when it started retracing, when it took out this low, I actually knew that, okay, when it took out this low, remember when I told you that if it takes out a low, it's going to buy for a while. So when it took out this low, I just said, oh, okay, it's actually going to buy for a while, but I wasn't sure that it was going to area again, because I'd already left this area. But then I just still left it, and luckily for me, the trade came back and picked this entry. Okay, so this is the thing with FOMO. Sometimes you just have to discipline yourself. If it doesn't get to your entry, leave it. You will not die if you don't take that trade. That trade is not the only trade that can make you pass your account or make money. Okay, you will not die if you not take that one. If I had taken this trade, I might have made money, but it would have not been a good trade for me because it did not get my entry. Are you guys with me? And I might not have ended up passing down my prop firm yesterday. So I would have waited till next week, Tuesday. So all things are delayed gratification. So I might have told myself, what's it? Let me just risk it and just do this thing. And before you know it, I will just risk it and I will just do it. I will just be so angry with myself. And it's all these angers it's all these little mistakes that lead to anger, that lead to revenge trading. So you see, all these things, they are just intertwined with each other. By the time you disobey one of your trading rules, you find out that one you disobeyed, you now make a loss. And because you're angry with the loss, you now want to make back the profit from the loss. You revenge trade. Revenge trading never works. But before you know it, the cycle will continue, and then you just keep doing nonsense. So you just have to discipline yourself, okay? And another thing too is, right? It's one thing to be patient to wait for your trade, then another thing to have the confidence to take your trade. These are the two things that will just change your trading for you. I'm telling you guys from experience, these are the two things that will change your trading for you. Number one is your risk management. See, let me just tell you guys the simple thing about trading. Number one, make sure you have a trading edge that works. Are you guys with me? Number one, make sure you have a trading edge that works. That's a strategy that works. Number two, have a tight risk management. Once these two are sorted, these two are things that can easily be sorted. Okay. Once these two are sorted, you can just learn a strategy from someone. You don't have to do that. You don't have to create a strategy by yourself if you don't have the patience to learn someone's strategy that works. Okay. Then have a good risk management and follow your risk management. These two things are the easiest things you can do. Then number three thing you should do is be patient to wait for your entry. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this. Be patient. If it doesn't get to your entry, if it doesn't meet your entry, don't take the trade. Nothing will happen. Other trading opportunities will come that will meet your entry. I guess with me, try to build that discipline. Like, this is just what I really want to kind of be talking about. Try to build that. If it doesn't meet your entry, let it go. Let it go, because if that trade goes against you, the anger and the pain is going to be different. The anger and pain of that is going to make you to want to do other things that you don't want to do. And that's the third thing. Be patient to wait for your trading. Then the fourth thing is, when it now gets to your entry, have the confidence to take it. Have the confidence to take the trade, because it's when you actually take the trade that you can either make money or lose money. If you don't place trade, you will not make money or lose money. That's it. So have a trading system, have a risk management, have a patience to wait for the trade setup. And number four, have the confidence to take that trade setup. If you do these four things like this, repeat it every day like this, try it in 2 months. You're the one that will come and meet me, Zara. This thing works. Number one, have a trading system. Number two, have a risk management plan. Number three, have patience to wait for your trade. Number four, have the confidence to take your trade. Simple. These are the 4 things you need to do in trading. Simple, like this. Rinse and repeat like this. Your trading game is going to change forever. It's just simple like that. That's simply just what I want to share with you guys today. And I believe that you guys have gotten something from this. So if you didn't get anything from this trade, okay, if you didn't get anything from this, just get these 4 things.
Man, I learned something actually. These things you said now we are my problems actually. And I will now fix it from now on.
Exactly.
I'm serious. I've blown account like mad. I've really learned something from this.
Exactly. I'm really glad. Really glad. So just these 4 things, just have it as your take home today. Just have these 4 things as your take home today. I have a trading system. Someone said they cannot learn some people's strategy. There's so many strategies. They're simple ones. There's so many strategies. You can develop your own. You can just do anything you want. Okay, you can just do anything you want and learn anyone you want that is okay for you, and that's it. Just what I just know, just make sure you have a strategy that works, have risk management, then have patience to wait for the trade setup, and then have the confidence to execute it. These are the 4 things you need in trading. Like, these are the 4 things you need in trading like this. That's it. And that's it for today. Someone said, what's 1% of $50? There's nothing like 1%. 1%, just use 0.01. Like, you can't really do proper risk management on small account. Okay, so just use 0.01, one position, 0.01, and just know that it's going to take you more time to build your account. Okay, so thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you guys next Saturday with God's grace. Okay,
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Please be fast. Our time will expire.
Okay, please, I'd like to know, you're mentioning 4 hours and 15 minutes. Is that the time you should use? Like, is that the time you use for all your trades?
Yes, 4 hours. So I just check out the trend of the market on 4 hours, then mark out the previous high and previous low of the 4 hour. Okay, so on 1 hour, I just look at the 1 hour to just see if it's just moving in the same direction as the 4 hour, just to know basically I just mark out of 4 hours, and then I just wait for my entry on 15 minutes.
All
But once
right.
it gets
Also,
to the high and low, I
you
mark.
also don't trade on Mondays. So you're saying Tuesday. So do you trade on Mondays?
I've been trading on Mondays, but I think I will stop because the trades I take on Mondays, they don't usually end well for me. So maybe I will just have to stop it. I'll just go from Tuesdays to Fridays, yeah. But all these things are just different approach. It doesn't mean that it won't work for you. People trade on Mondays and they make money. GJs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then last one, concerning risk management, you were saying some things, but I think my FX Pro calculator, it gives like the lot size to use and putting the price you want to risk. Is it fine to keep using it?
Yes, it suggests a lot size for you to use. myfxbook.com. You go to for go. It suggests a lot size for you to use, depending on the amount you put in, you want to risk and your stop loss level. It suggests a lot size. It was actually from there that I already now knew how to calculate my own. So if you don't know how to calculate it, it suggests a lot size for you to use. Yes.
All right. Congratulations on passing your phase one.
Thank you. Someone said, what are the signs you see on 15 minutes before taking an entry? Once the price taps on the level I mark out on 4 hour and gives off a weak rejection. Okay. Sometimes I set my limit order. If it just picks up the limit order, it will start selling or buying. Or then sometimes I just wait for 1 week rejection. Then on the second, whose mic is that? On the second one, I just get into the trade. That's it. Just weak rejections that might take. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming and see you next Saturday. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, everyone.